Are back after just a little crash with our streaming server. This is part 2 of the episode on logging. And the question was, imagine we have these hundreds of messages in the log view. How can I identify where one of the messages originated from?
Yeah, so if the message was logged with one of the log nodes, then let's do it again. I go in there. Let's say I have an error here. Let's just log it. Okay. Imagine this happened and we don't know where it is exactly. The nice thing is I can now click on this message and here I see an error pointing me basically exactly there.
Okay, so it jumps to the patch, to the log node.
To the node which actually emitted that message. Yeah. This only works though for, like I said, for log messages which are somehow bound to your user patch.
Well,
where the system somehow knows that this was there, because there are other log messages, like we've seen in the beginning of the episode, which are coming from somewhere where there is no node.
But can we say whenever there is a log node that we placed, we can jump to it?
Yes, we should. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think, no, the final thing, just briefly, then we said, you have these messages, but say I want to copy them to the forum or somewhere. Mm-hmm. How can I copy a message?
One thing would simply be I go here to this icon, say copy.
Okay.
Now I have
it in the clipboard.
It's in the clipboard. I could just paste it now. Okay. Or
what if I want to select multiple?
Exactly. When you want, then you want to switch maybe from the structured view to just a very simple text view, which you just did up there. Switch to. And here I could now just select whatever I want and copy that one out.
Okay. Cool. I think that's all we need to know about the log view. Now we want to have a look back at the log node, and we want to talk briefly about how can we send messages that contain not only a message, but also an argument of sorts.
Exactly. So let's change this. So let's say we just want to log
a number.
Okay. Yeah. Let's put it there. So what I can use there, whoops. I can use these curly brackets.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just the placeholder here in the string. It's a formatting. It's a way of string formatting. Mm-hmm. So here I could just write anything really. It doesn't really matter what I write here. But here on the node now, by pressing Ctrl+, we added a new input, one argument for this particular, so to say, variable, which we want the node to fill in later. And let's say I have a counter here, and we log this one, and we always count up when we log. I hit this now again. Well, let's not say it's an error. Let's just again say it's the information. If I log this,
number is 1.
Number is, and now it filled up this argument. And so if I would put here number is, and if I would put here more things, I would just use more curly brackets.
So I think that the thing to understand here is that the term that you use inside the curly brackets doesn't matter at all. It's just for you to know what you're logging. And
yes, to just being able to read this string somehow in a reasonable way.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just about the order of these brackets, how they appear in the string, and the order of the pins, how you fill them.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So now you're logging the number and the time.
And here we see already interesting, the time has some sort of string representation, right?
Because it's actually just a float, but no, it's a date time.
It's a date time, but still, somehow it formatted it nicely.
Mm-hmm. So what if I have a bit richer structure, a record that I want to log?
Yes, for example, so we prepared a very simple example here. I have this record called person. Okay, mm-hmm. It has just a name and an address, some made-up properties. If I go back here,
In the networking?
I was always in the networking patch. Oh yeah. So let's say person is
bracket curly, no? Curly person.
If I would have a person here, I just create one all the time. Let me just get rid of all this stuff for a moment.
Category also. Yeah.
Let's decrease here the pin count again. And if I would just give it a name, for example, my name, Elias, and the address is Lind. And if I would now connect this here, because that's the nice thing, you just want to basically say, hey, log, and then that's the person. You don't want to think about here, what do I want to log about it? So if I would log this now, I just log, I get this string representation.
Not so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's okay, but in this case, it's maybe not what we wanted, what we expected. So in this case, you can, and that's what the logger is doing internally. So in case it actually logs, so in case the threshold level of something is high enough, it will log, and then it will format this message. And for this argument, basically, it will go there and call on this argument ToString. ToString is a very basic operation all objects have in common. The default implementation of that operation just returns the type name. So if we want to have a nice log view and also a nice string representation of our person, which is very convenient in any case, it's not just for logging, it's for anything.
I think that's an interesting point to make. This is what Elias is now showing is not only for logging, but it's particularly useful there.
So we add this operation called ToString here. Can I say that's an active moment? I'm not sure. But let me just copy this. And I just want to output as a string formatting just my name. I would create just an output bin. Now, clearly this is on the wrong operation. I put it to string. And here, watch out, because we are overwriting operation from a base class, from object here, it has a certain signature. And this is what this tooltip is telling me here. Like, hey, you are not following the rules. And here it tells me the name, the output pin. It expects only one output pin. And it should be called with the name result. That's just how it is. But now that I did that, and we go back into this networking patch, and I log again, now, nice, I see a proper representation, string representation of my record.
To sum up, if I have a custom type that I have under control, I can very clearly specify how the ToString method looks like. It can be anything in the end. And it will help me also in logging to write out exactly these informations that I am interested in. Because this might be a very rich data type, but you're only interested in this one property of it. And okay. I think that was it regarding the log node. Now we want to switch to another chapter we alluded to earlier already. That was this idea of having different logging providers, as they are called. Can you fill us in on this idea a bit?
Like we said, now we have only, so to say, one sink here, which is our own
provider, and sink is
kind of the same thing in a way. This is our own UI, and this is vvvv itself basically listening in to actually show you this user interface here. But like we showed in the beginning, in the episode, that our application was also writing to a file. So this is would be a file, like someone who writes to a file would be called this terminology a log provider. There are also others. Basically, there are a lot. We can quickly have a look, because what we are using here behind the scenes is a standard logging abstraction provided by Microsoft. And if I'm just opening here quickly, they also show here like a list of some very popular ones. There are much more than this.
There are many more than these.
And in this case, for example, where we just want to log to file, we are also using one which is not even showing up here. And this one will be called Serilog. But the point is that these logging providers in itself often very rich and have a lot of configuration things to do. So, for example, logging to to a cloud service.
Like Grafana or OpenTelemetry or how they are.
You probably need API keys and I don't know what.
But the thing is, you can use them all in vvv.
Yes.
That's the main takeaway here.
Exactly.
And we will now just exemplary show you one very simple one.
The simple one to just logging to file. So if we go on their official Nougat.org website, they already tell us here that logging to file is made very easy. They say just here logging builder add file. It's all you need to do to configure your app. Okay. So how do we do this in a v4 patch? That's the question. So
first we need to install the Nugget. No?
Obviously, first we need to install the Nugget, then we need to reference it from our patch, and then we will find this add file. We can do this quickly.
Let's skip the installing of the Nugget because we have already done so. People know how this works. We just reference it.
Exactly.
In our file now.
Reference it.
Net Nugget.
.NET Nugget, yeah, it's here. And it was called
Serilog something.
Oh, this is...
we have already referenced it.
Do we?
See, up there.
Ah, yeah. So here we need to add a reference, exactly. But now, let's go back. They called it how? Add file. So if I just place this add file here. Interesting.
Let's also skip which one we need. We need the last one set, the logging builder.
With the path format, so we want to basically say where it should go. The question is, where do I put this? What is this logging builder and how do I get into this whole configuration thing? To do that, that's the thing. It's just not a simple node for now. The point is that logging is something you want to configure very early in your application. It should, the best case, it should be from the get-go. But since configuration of these logging providers is already complex on its own, it's happening really early. And
so you want to have a spot in your patch that is executed before
once very early on
else.
Before everything else. And for that, we in vvvv we have something called iStartup. So what you need to do is you need to create a class implementing this iStartup interface.
Okay. We're not asking what an interface is.
Another season maybe even. And then when vvv starts the application, it will first basically look through your classes and look if any one of them implement this iStartup interface. If so, it will instantiate it and then call certain operations on it. And
okay, so let's
so I just create it. I create a class, call it my startup.
So the name of that class doesn't matter?
The name is really irrelevant. You could structure it in different ways if you wanted to, but for this example, it really does not matter. We add this interface iStartup, like I said. This interface comes with currently 3 operations. The one we are looking on here now will be this setup logging.
Okay.
So again, similar to what I did before with the ToString, I'm now implementing this setup logging operation.
So naming is crucial here.
Yes, naming is crucial.
We have to provide exact name that we saw there.
And now already, since the active moment now is set up logging, it knows that the pins it can create here are this app host and this logging builder.
So these are special now because we added the iStartup interface. That's why they are showing up here.
That's why they are showing up here. But we can see we got lucky. Here's this logging builder we've seen from before. I remember I put this node somewhere. I don't know where I put it.
Removed it already.
So again, I go for add file. So I want to do what they are saying, what I should be doing. I should call add file. This was the one. So this one I can connect here now. Nice. And here I would need to give it the path. Let's say for now.
We want to have it typically written next to the application.
Yeah.
So application path.
There's a node called application path.
Gives the root to the application and then a plus.
And it has a trailing slash, so we can we can just use a plus node and give it a file name. I should probably do it like that. My log, txt, and connect this here. This should be, as you can see, there are more. Here, this was what we said initially, the minimum level, the log level. What is it's listening in?
Very important.
It's, like I said, usually on information. Yeah, depends on
other things that will,
stuff.
yeah.
So I guess
different providers will have different configuration options there.
Yes.
And you could add many of them here.
Yes, we could add also a cloud logging and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
now, is this already working? Is it writing to a file yet?
Right now, no, because we did not. Like I said, the startup is called on startup when the patch starts. We didn't really restart the patch. I'm sorry, I can't.
What seems to be problem here?
See the no. Okay.
We just have to press F8, F5, no?
So if I do it now, I see nothing.
There will not be a file created yet.
We can open maybe the show in Explorer.
So no log file here.
But if I press F8 and start it again,
already
we see it did something.
Because there are some startup. Not so much.
This is basically from when we start the patch, we write this logout starting patch name. So,
and as you log now,
as I log now, yes,
the file has changed.
I get the hello again.
Yeah. Okay, I think also we don't have to say much more. There are different blog providers. They will have different configurations options, very individual.
Yeah, but just for reference, to quickly get there to this state, there's a help pad showing you that. So if you type in here logging, I think
configure logging providers has the same info in a written form. Okay. Finally, last topic that we wanted to touch in this episode was, as we showed in the very beginning in our app, we had this LogUI in our app.
Yeah.
Can we just...
Because that might be nice, no, that you have this log even in your own application, which you exported. So let's do this.
Yeah. We prepared this My App thing.
Shall we start from there?
Yeah. Just in the definition? No, in the definition.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. We prepared this node here, My App window.
Yeah.
I will just place it here.
Just that.
Some sprite rendering going on. Let's have a look inside. It's really not much. It's just a teapot, a light, and nothing really.
And as we already saw in the earlier episode where we talked about ImGui, just really quickly show us how we can.
So what we want to have is this user interface in our application.
Yeah.
So let's close this. And this is delivered in a separate package. It's called LogView. So it's delivered, shipped with vvvv itself. Should be here. VL LogView. Yeah, here.
It's already referenced.
We have it referenced already because we did it before, but this is what you need to reference. And once you have referenced this, you should find a node called LogUI. And there are two, layer and widget. Layer is one which immediately works with Skia.
Skia layer.
In this case, we use the widget one, which
is an ImGui widget.
Is an ImGui widget, exactly, and it needs to run inside this ImGui region. Like, so if I just place it here, it will not do anything. So I need to first create a ImGui region. Stride. I place it in here, and this one we wanna connect. So we need a
render entity.
Let's connect it.
Again, don't forget to...
I'm not sure what he is complaining about now.
Me neither. It needs the global recorder. Maybe that is an issue.
Did I not hook it up correctly? You're right. So here, that's the thing. Global recorder, we need to connect this guy. Aha, now we see something. A little bit messy still, but So this is just the UI. It needs to get the data from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it accesses the same data source as our built-in view.
Yeah.
So the global recorder is basically one you can also configure that one in the startup if you wanted to. But I think it's written here in this help text. But so this is something it needs, and this it will show us, and then we can. I think we also need to
default style. It was
default style
and default.
and
It needs
right.
Yeah, no, it's right, but don't connect it to the LogUI, but to the
And he needs something else.
Yeah, default
Which is
dark theme,
default dark theme,
and also connects to the default style again. The other way around. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry. No.
And I believe if you now press F9, I don't know why we're still these. That's the debug window.
True. If I create
believe-
my own ImGui window here. No, if I just put it on full screen, right?
Yeah.
No.
Remove the full screen.
So now. Okay.
I mean, everything else is going into ImGui territory, and we saw that.
I mean, we have still this rendering glitch here because I made another mistake because we want to render after the scene rendered.
Yeah, we showed that already.
Okay. We can put this on after scene. No,
I think
looks okay.
that is probably the end of this episode. Operator just went out for coughing, so he can't stop the stream now. Operator is back. We happen to be at the end. I think we covered all the topics we wanted to talk about. Did we have any viewers? Did we have any questions?
They were chaotic later.
Yeah.
Comments.
Any questions you might have at this point, please put them in the comments. We will certainly get back to you. Elias, how was your first episode?
Yeah, nice.
Can we do it again?
Yes, of course.
Cool. Stay tuned for another episode anytime, sometime next week, probably. Good evening.
Bye.